This week, Dixie State University took their request to drop Dixie from their name to state legislators. In tonight's 360 report, we take a closer look at that issue, speaking to the university president, dean of students, local residents, and others at the school, as well as going more in depth on a study on the impact of the word Dixie.
It was a difficult thing for me initially, just because I'm from here. I understand what Dixie means here locally.
Dale Beatty is dean of students at Dixie State University.
I went to Dixie State. I loved it.
But lately, he's had a change of heart when it comes to the name.
In fact, 8 years ago, when we first became Dixie State University, there was discussion at that time about possibly changing the name. We probably should have done it back then.
After a lot of study, all voted unanimously to change the name of our university to remove the word Dixie.
Speaking to us from the state capitol, where he's trying to convince legislators, DSU President Richard Williams says they're not trying to erase the area's rich history, but help improve the future for students.
It's a term of endearment. It's something that people are used to and they like. But the fact of the matter is that the word Dixie means different things to different people outside of southern Utah.
A House Committee on Higher Education approved the bill by an Ogden representative to remove the Dixie name from the university. It will now go to the full House, then the Senate.
What's in the name?
This community meeting held in December.
This is the impact of a word on certain groups.
The school's marketing director on a university-commissioned Cicero study.
This study didn't look at our programs, it didn't look at our reputation, it didn't look at the experience students were having, this is just the name.
According to the report, 25% of southwestern Utah, 44% of greater Utah, and 56% out-of-state respondents believe the name has a negative impact on the institution's general brand. As for whether Dixie is associated with the Confederacy, 33% of southern Utah residents, 41% of Utahns, and 64% out-of-state said yes.
If you look at the name Dixie and apply it through history, it is not the term that I think you're giving it the credit for. Dixie does not represent the Confederacy. There's a thing called Utah's Dixie that it relates to.
Tim Anderson has lived and practiced law in St. George the past 42 years and works with the Coalition to defend southwestern Utah heritage.
As we all know, it relates back to pioneers coming to southern Utah to grow cotton.
He acknowledged that in the university's past, there was a time they used the Confederate flag and called themselves the Rebels, something he campaigned to change when he was Dixie College Foundation president in 1991.
The name Dixie never had anything to do with the Confederacy relative to the story of Utah's Dixie.
Last month, the Dixie Regional Medical Center became simply Intermountain St. George Regional Hospital. Anderson believes administrators are being caught up in a cancel culture, trying to eliminate what he says should be revered, a proud pioneer heritage.
But they decided to, in effect, race bait our community. And that's not something that we're going to tolerate.
From the same study, 79% of local residents do not support a name change at the university.
In our case, they're simply asking us to give up too much. Dixie's the heritage that we grew up with.
They support the Save Dixie movement, something growing online, like in this GoFundMe page created by local resident Eileen Hacker, who told Fox 13, "We are very hopeful that the legislature will vote against the Dixie State name change. I feel our history and heritage are at stake. My pioneer ancestors came to southern Utah in 1861 with the Dixie Cotton Mission. DSU administration is using a race card, creating a problem where one did not exist."
The history becomes so important when it comes to a name, and every large university realizes that strength.
Just like you wouldn't go to Provo to change the name Brigham Young University, you don't come to Utah's Dixie to change the name of the principal flagship institution.
And Anderson refutes the university's claims that the name Dixie hurts its students.
To try to claim that somehow it hurts someone's opportunity for a job, that's made up. We don't think it's true.
64% of the current student body support the name.
I do see both sides of it, so I do understand, but I think that the majority of people want to keep the name, and so I think the majority is what should dictate what happens.
I do understand the ties to the local meaning of it. I understand that, but the rest of the world doesn't, and that's what makes it hard.
Dixie State has added 111 academic programs and increased its student body by 41% in the last 5 years. Growth administrators believe may be impeded.
It's not saying that we don't love it and that we don't respect it. We just have to be honest that there are more negative connotations than it is positive.
But older alumni, according to the study, say their support of the university will change if its name does.
It doesn't mean at all what maybe the rest of the world or the rest of the nation perceives it to be.
There is a lot of information in that impact study. If you'd like to see those findings yourself on the name Dixie, we have posted that on our website at fox13now.com.